let's finish this logic. Or I'm going to finish this logic. So I added a within Glide, another great cool little feature is that when you edit the image in the just data editor, you can look up stock imagery. So I looked up a just package delivered image. So instead of putting the fields up in here, I'm going to add text components to don't really need text hint headline. I'll just add a text component underneath here. I might make these their own container as well, but it'll evolve. So mark delivered, and that's going to be delivered info, and the text will be the delivered when. So now that shows up. I'll make that bigger by saying, I don't know, headline medium. Oh, interesting. Well, can you do like a compound? I guess you could do I suppose I could say something like, I could just say that's delivered. Custom delivered. Something like that. Delivered June 10th at 12:43 p.m. So we can copy that to say mark delivered, mark received, and mark returned. And then you're receiving, the seller is receiving it as well. So if it's a pickup or delivery, I'm maybe dropping off my vacuum cleaner and then picking it up. So that whole exchange, it's actually a lot going on. So that feels good that it's there. Mark received should be visible when the status is delivered and the author, okay, right. So I'm viewing as Sway, but it's rented by Sway, so that should be showing. Second conditions. Mark received. What is the status? Oh, mark it is received. So I can move this down into here, mark delivered. And that'll say received. And then lastly, returned. Oh my gosh. Mark received, mark delivered, mark returned. This in itself is like complicated. It's kind of tough to think about. Delivered text. This is going to be delivered when? No, it's going to be returned. So we need a rental order received when, and we'll say duplicate, returned. I'll just make that. No need for folders really. Right. So that these become simpler. Received when. returned when received image, returned when, we should probably have a returned image as well. Returned image, received image, returned image, received when, delivered image, okay. Hey. Alright. And then make sure that we have a button for mark accepted, mark rental order received. And then mark it. Maybe instead of received from the seller, it's just mark it as complete. Like the cycle is finished. Copy of mark order rental received. We'll say mark order rental returned. If the row ID is author ID, correct, set the column values in this as returned, and then set the returned when to be the current date time. Disable that. Returned. Returned when, yep, okay. And that should really be the goal, like having a leaderboard for how many successful rentals, because that's really the it's like the bandwidth of what you've been offering to your community. Received, delivered, mark delivered, received, received when, it also says received. Oh, mark delivered, no. Mark returned. I guess I could just put a fields thing in there and just have an individual field. That would make more sense, actually. Alright. Removing the text. Let's duplicate the fields. Drop it down into here. Remove the text here. And the fields will just be delivered when. Oh, and then the title. So where's that? Delivered when. Yeah, sure. Alright, so delivered when. Mark delivered, mark received. This is where a faster computer would be helpful. Delivered text, mark returned. Rented by and delivered when. So what's the current status of this thing? Received. So if it's received, I should be able to mark it as mark delivering. No, I want to mark it as returned. Mark rental order returned. If the status is what is it? Received. And the parent author ID and action when the, not the parent, but the author ID okay, now I can mark it as returned because that's its current status. So this was added then 2 hours ago. I think that's when the update. No. Power saw rental order by Sway 2 hours ago. No, I just delivering when, accepted when. The fields that can go down. Accepted when, delivered when, status updated. Okay. Status received. So, well, the fields can go up mark delivering. Delivered when, I don't know. So this is a lot of detail work. Mark received, no. The action for mark returned will be mark returned by Sway. Alright. Delivered when? That's me delivering it. Rented by or delivered. We need more fields for, so this is delivered when. Delivered text. Oh, delivering. Received text. Fields for that will be received when. 12:46. Received text. Received when. God, this is such mundane work. Received when, and then returned. Could have just done this up top, but I want to have a flow where you can see the entire chain go through. Returned text, and this will be the returned. Returned when. And we'll have an image picker. This is so boring. I'll just kind of grind into this. There's just so many little things to do, but once it's up and running, then we actually have a method by which people can rent stuff. Can't really do anything until then. Returned image. I'll go into that. Okay. So, if I change this, if I go back to admin mode, and I can update the status of nothing, then as the author of this post, of the power saw rather, not the renter but the rented from, I can mark it as accepted. Up here, mark accepted, accepted text. This is the grind of like creating a business. Like even the idea is like decent, but it's just, can I grind enough? Accepted when, delivering when. So accepted when, mark delivering. You can update the delivered image, mark delivered. So you update the image, and then if I'm, so that should like send out a notification too, but if I'm sway, now he goes, yep, I received it. He should probably take a photo too. And then, yep, I returned it. Now I'm returning it. Alright, this is so boring. I gotta do something else. I'm gonna go into the profile, and I wanna be able to update the status. So, he's into singing, premium post orders. Let's update the status so we can create a... And I like how the UI is so easy to manage that really just adding buttons there and then just seeing how they feel, and kind of it's not one layout or anything, it's just the idea of functionality. And then so form elements, maybe let's put that underneath, and the text entry can be, instead of the column name, where did that go? Name sway. I'm going to say status string. We'll say dancing. Now what I also want is for the user, where's their status? Social groups, status string. I want a status, add column right, to be like status GIF, and that's going to be a giphy. And we can create, find the status string online, so that when you update your status, which really could be like your profile image. That's cool. It's like stuff you're doing right now. Yeah, your profile image is like, that's cool. Let me think about that. Now I want to add an image component, content image, right under there. Let's call that status. Does that work? No. Status GIF. And then that references the GIF, so you update your status, and oh, there you go, dancing. That's fun. So, profile image, yeah, something like that. I was also thinking that I want to update the tasks concept, and I want to be able to practice like actually like maybe task completions, so you can put out a bounty, go, I need this, or I don't know, do a dance and do it 5 times, or a certain bounty, and how many bounties exist. So the first 5 people who do it, I'll give 10 points to, kind of a thing. So let's add a table, and I'll call it task completions. And maybe this is where I can practice the new query column. I think it would replace the relations. I just don't know why I don't understand that. So let's call it task completions. Then where'd that go? Task completions. And eventually I'll get down to the things concept, which is really just anything as a basic, which maybe it should just be like a post. But a thing could be like a bike, and then you would create a rental from that, perhaps, or even just like an inventory tracker. Like, I have 5 of these things, and they happen to be for sale. But then I'm wondering if the model should be like merged together, just to be one mega post limit thing. I don't know. All right, task completions. Task completions will have. Oy, getting into that rental logic is just so. It's like granular, but that's the whole kind of point of the app and why it's so difficult to make a custom app for that rental concept. So the name, I don't know. I might say description. Make that a text, and a timestamp, date, time.